So basically what we want to talk about today is how can we kind of throw together vegetables and not have to be following a recipe or be any special kind of chef or anything like that. We want to eat in season. We want to eat lots of colors. Today I've got a bunch of colors loaded up here. You can see I've got orange, red, yellow. I've even got some white daikons. This is a radish. It's an oriental radish. It was really long. I cut it up. It was about that long, and I've used a little bit for each class. All the different kinds of peppers now, they're all the same price right now at H-E-B, so you can get whatever you want. You guys, do you like asparagus? I'm going to blanch it. I'm not going to do anything fancy to it. It's a beautiful vegetable, has its own special flavor. You don't really have to give it flavor like you do some other vegetables. Kale, winter green vegetable. It's got some of the most powerful phytonutrients, especially cancer fighting. It's specific for breast cancer when eaten on a regular basis. It's a winter vegetable. It's available all winter long. It's when it's best. You can see now it's starting to be, it's really crisp. It just comes right apart. This is when it's best. In the summer you'll find that it'll be thick and tougher and very fibrous, so it's not as fun to eat. We have olive oil. I've got two different kinds of oil, olive oil and sesame oil. This is made with sesame seeds. I've got some regular soy sauce, cayenne pepper, cumin. I think there's thyme and nutmeg. Yep. This is curry powder, which we used in the last class, and bay leaves. I also brought some fresh spices. This is basil. I'm going to pass one of these around so you guys sniff this, man. It's like, it smells so good. Fresh sage, which I put in the squash soup that you're going to try here in a minute. Garlic and some ginger. And this is a really young piece of ginger. This is also in the squash soup that we're going to try here in a minute. You can simply take the edge of a knife and just scrape off the peel. You don't have to do anything special to get the peel off. Anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antibacterial. It's a beautiful, beautiful spice. In the winter, especially as the weather gets cold, we start to move indoors. And there are very particular plants that grow in the winter that Mother Nature has given us so that we can have the nutrients we need to stay healthy throughout the cold months. Why do you think that we have citrus fruit, which is the highest in vitamin C, in the winter? That's when it's in season. Yeah, vitamin C helps you stay well, fights away colds, keeps your immune system operating. Because we get inside, we've got that heater on, it's a nice warm environment, everybody's close together, the windows aren't open, and so it's a great place for germs and viruses to thrive. This way Mother Nature gives us something. Even in the caveman days, they were indoors in their cave with the fires burning, didn't get out much, couldn't bathe much. I mean, it was a tough time of year. So even during those times, the plants that were available had the nutrients in them to keep people well. Winter vegetables are the same thing. Root vegetables, things that grow underground, they're harvested about late fall, early winter, and they keep all winter long. And they have all of the nutrients, especially beta carotenes, that you need to keep your immune system going. So if you look at this one page, we've got phytochemicals, this one here. I prefer to call them phytonutrients because that's what they do, is they're nutritive. Phyto, the first part of the word, means plant, and then phytochemical or phytonutrient are those things that are in plants that provide us with all of the vitamins and minerals and stuff that we need. In classical nutrition, things in food typically will help us grow, develop, and repair our body. Phytochemicals in a plant serve to protect the plant. So all of these little chemicals that exist in the plant, in the leaves and stuff, protect it from viruses and other things that might attack it. When we eat those, we use them in much the same way, and they provide us with energy and the resources we need to stay healthy. They also help brain function, their eyes and vision. They keep all your organs and cells healthy, and especially this winter, they'll keep you from getting sick and healthy. And the very bottom line, they've got every day we should eat 2 cups of fruit and 2.5 cups of vegetables. That's a minimum. That's what the USDA has recommended for us to stay well. That's kind of like recommending so many milligrams of vitamin C per day to keep you from getting scurvy. That's what it does. So this keeps you well. What we know is that if you don't have that over time, you will get sick. At some point, it's going to cost you. So you're not going to have the nutrients that you need to stay well in whatever form that means, whether it's heart disease, diabetes, overweight, obesity, high cholesterol. All of those things are affected by the amount of plant material that we put in our bodies. So what I did was I made up a little list of mix and match vegetables and spices, and then I went through the pantry at the food bank, grabbed some things, went to the HEB, grabbed a bunch of stuff that I saw there, and I thought, okay, I'm going to let you guys decide how we fix this stuff. So I'm going to put just enough olive oil in here to cover the bottom of the pan. Well, not to cover it, but just to run around, and then as it heats up, it'll be all over the place. I just want enough so that the vegetables don't stick. I'm going to put in the hardest vegetables first, which would be the carrots, the daikon, and look how I slice them. I slice them on a diagonal so they have more surface area and will cook quicker. I'm going to cut these in half. Daikon is kind of spicy. It's a radish in the radish family. It's a little bit spicy. If you like peppery kinds of foods, you'll like it. If you don't like spicy, you probably won't, but you should try it a little bit anyway. I probably don't need to make as much for just the 3 of us, huh? All right. Okay, so, all right, tell me what to do. I've got olive oil in here and that's it. What should I do with this? Where should we go with our spices?
Thyme and bay leaves.
A bay leaf? Thyme and bay leaf? That sounds very Mediterranean. All right. How about some garlic? A little garlic be good. Huh? Always. Garlic is a staple, right? Garlic, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. It's good for the anti-vampire. Stanley, are you a vampire? Every time I get the garlic press out, he runs. I'm beginning to wonder. So on the thyme, what I do is I put enough. It's a strong aromatic herb, so it's not something you want to use a whole lot of. I'd say maybe 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon. Just kind of like get enough on there to give it. It's a lot like rosemary in its strength of flavor. So you don't need a whole bunch to get the flavor out of it. I'm going to put this on to cook. Stanley's going to watch it for me. Asparagus. You guys said you all liked it? All right. So asparagus is very strong flavored. It doesn't need a whole lot of added flavor. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to show you how to cook it in a really simple way so you get the most out of the asparagus itself. The bottom of the asparagus, there are these little leaves. I usually go cut off to the lowest leaf or a couple of fingers off the bottom of it because these things sit in water in the grocery store, and I like to kind of get rid of all of that part that's been sitting in water, and it's also much more fibrous at the bottom. You can't really chew it up and eat it well. So I just cut a couple of those off, and with what's left over, the part you cut off, you can actually put that when you make soup stocks. There we go. We take that off. Just a tiny bit, just a mention. Lay these across the bottom of the pan and add some water. We're gonna blanch them. And you don't want to boil them. You just want enough water to kind of get them steaming and cooking. And when it mixes with the oil, the water will last a little bit longer in the pan. So just about that much. You're going to put them on there and let them cook until they become bright green, brighter than they are now. And you want them to still have body. So right now they don't move at all. We want them to be somewhat like this with just a slight bend. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was the kale. Now this is kind of advanced vegetable eating right here. You cook it until it's pretty bright green, brighter than the color that it is now, and you just want it to be basically wilted. So these stems, when you've got the baby leaves like this, you can actually eat the stems, but I'm going to go ahead and take them off. And it's really simple. If you just fold this over, lay it on its side, and you just run your knife along the edge, you're left with just the leaf. And you can do that. You see these are bigger stalks. I'm going to clean a couple more of these. This wilts down to nothing. It's a lot like spinach. All right. So you want to do the olive oil? You want to try the sesame oil? You know, sesame oil is it's very prominent in Asian foods. Nutmeg, thyme, that turkey leg, yeah. Well, let's do it with just this and see how it comes out. There's your tongs. See how the asparagus turns out. Oh, you guys are scoring. This is how they eat them in Spain. That and there you go. Try that.
Whatever you did, it made it taste better.
Yeah, it's really good. So like you go to a little cafe and you sit down and you order, and they actually, these plates are perfect size. They bring you plates and you have mushrooms or asparagus or little pieces of like tortilla and stuff like that. Roasted root vegetables. And I cut them into bigger chunks, put them in a big, I like to put a cast iron skillet, put a little bit, dribble a little bit of olive oil on there, and use either thyme or rosemary. Put that in the oven, about 350 to 400, and just let them bake or roast. Oh my God, that is so good. And the rosemary, you could even take it out of your garden or whatever if you have a rosemary bush, and just lay it on top. You don't even have to mix it in, and the oils just go right down into it. Really beautiful, so simple. No real cooking involved, just cutting up. All right, let's see this. Now this stuff is a little stronger than olive oil, so I'm not going to get crazy with it. I don't want to scare you guys off. And we'll put this on top. I've also done it similarly to what you've done with the turkey leg, in really big, huge batches when I have like a lot of people over, because not everybody likes it just plain like this. So you can add something like that in. I also put it in soup. Potato soup and kale, potato kale soup is really nice. Yeah, you cut it up really, really tiny. Really good stuff. I also used to juice it. That's a little crazy. The bitter constituents in this are the things that make it medicinal, and it's in the same family as broccoli, cauliflower, chard, well, not chard, kale, Brussels sprouts. You can add all kinds of stuff to it on top. You can put this in soups. You can have it. I've even had people add it to rices. So those are like some easy, quick ways to combine whatever you've got in terms of spices and throw it in with your vegetables. And now that you know what that's like, you can imagine in your head, what would this be? What would taste good with this? How could I do this? But you got to try the stuff first, figure out the flavors, and just start adding to it. So you guys have your mix and match. You've got a list of vegetables and spices there. You've got choose your menu words. I finally got around to getting that to you. This is the list of words to beware of, and the list of words that are like green flags in the restaurant. Got a little info about phytochemicals, and then you have your education recap. Have a good week. Stay out of trouble. Eat lots of kale.